if they're seeing and hearing us, it means they've been patient enough to stay put while
all of the technology broke. Just all of it.
Nothing was working. We
just all of the technology at the same time.
As we may have told you before, if you're joining us,
give them but a moment to join.
Yes,
as I fan myself.
Sure. Hi. I'm Leonard Maltin. That's my daughter, Jessie Maltin.
Hi.
Yes. And
Hi.
We're having some technological issues today.
Computer died. Internet's not working. Everything's broken. It's gonna be fine. I hope this all stays working. Let us pray.
Yeah.
Hello, one and also all. Okay. So far, it looks like it's working.
We sure hope so.
Let us pray.
We sure hope
so. Let us pray. All right.
Hello.
Already the most impressive question is, how much of your hair is still rainbow? A bit. Some of it. Quite a bit of it.
Hello to you in Illinois.
Hello all. Hello all. Oh, Alan Rohde posted about LQ. Of course he did.
Of course he did.
It would make sense that he did. Man.
LQ
man.
Jones. His real name was a pretty great name, it seemed to me. Justice McQueen. Justus. Justice.
Who would change their name
McQueen.
From Justice McQueen?
He did when he played a character named LQ Jones.
But Justice McQueen is like magical.
Yeah, I think so too. But he didn't.
All right. Justice McQueen.
Yeah.
I'm angry on behalf of his parents. They gifted him with that name.
I think there are only 3 people I can think of. And I didn't intend to start with the trivia question.
Well,
there are 3 people that I can think of who took the name of characters they played as their own.
Yeah.
And one, of course,
Nathan Lane.
Justice. Well, yes, he took his first name.
Well, yeah, that's still.
Well, yeah, no, that's 4th.
That's still part of a name.
That's right. He played Nathan Lane. In fact, the performance that made him a star on Broadway was a revival of Guys and Dolls, where he played Nathan Detroit. And his first name was Murgatroyd or something. And he decided that Nathan was a good name and it suited him better. Okay. A child actress named Dawn O'Day, who briefly appeared in Walt Disney's Alice comedies.
Yes.
Later played Anne of Green Gables. Anne Shirley. She took the name Anne Shirley.
Look at you with your trivia.
And then Byron Barr was a handsome young actor who was in a 40s movie. I can't remember the name. Sorry. Where he played a character named Gig Young. And he liked that name.
And thusly became.
And remained for the rest of his life, Gig Young.
Yeah.
If there are others, bring them on.
Yeah. Someone's saying that he probably didn't want to be Justice McQueen because people would ask if he's Steve's brother. But considering when he was around.
Prior to Steve McQueen's ascendance.
Yes, much before. So I don't think it probably would have been the other way, huh? Fess Parker got him to come to Hollywood and he got a part in Battle Cry.
Yep.
Yeah, fascinating man, and lots and lots and lots of stories. All of your friends have been posting about it.
Yeah.
There have been a row of deaths the last couple of days. You know how they say it happens in 3s? Well, apparently this week it happened in 12s.
Yeah.
Storch.
Larry Storch, God bless him.
Who you love.
Larry Storch, who people remember from a silly, and I do mean silly, sitcom named F Troop. Larry Storch started out as what they used to call an impressionist. I like mimic anyway. In the waning days of vaudeville, there was something called presentation houses in big cities, like New York, where they had the Paramount Theater and the Lowe State, where they did vaudeville plus the first run movie. And it was very popular in the 40s and drifted into the 50s. Larry Storch became a star then. He was the first one, I think, to imitate Gary Cooper by locking his Maria, which is the name of Ingrid Bergman's character, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Anyway, Larry Storch could imitate so many people. He did a great Frank Morgan, the man who played the Wizard in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And he used that voice on a cartoon show called King Leonardo. he did lots and lots and lots of voices. Very, very talented. I heard him. He did for me when I was standing talking to him, an old Chinese man, not in a caricature way. Oh,
Good.
yeah, not good.
All right.
Great.
We have so many things are popping up as we're going. So first of all, Trevor, hi. A good friend of mine named Trevor. His son has been in and out of the hospital for the last few, years, months. This precious little boy is not well. Trevor, sending you a lot of love. I really hope that Trenton starts to mend. It's been a nightmare for him. But he is why I looked up more information about Ronald McDonald House and found out that there is one nearby. And I emailed about volunteering there because it seems like the right thing to do and a wonderful place.
Well, sending love and good wishes.
Yeah, good grief. Hey, at least I will tell you though, Trenton is friggin' adorable. So he's got that going for him. He's a cute, cute little boy. I'm sure he's a sweetheart. David says, greetings from Prague. I'm watching in a pub on my phone with the sound turned down. Did you know that beer is cheaper than water in the Czech Republic? But I'm following along with subtitles. Well, David, the reason that this caught my eye is because my husband has a motto, which is when the beer is cheaper than the water, you should just drink beer. And we were in the Czech Republic, and he did exactly that. This was true when we were in Budapest. Mm-hmm. He said, but wife, it's cheaper to drink the beer. The beer is more affordable than the water. And
in the olden days, it was also safer.
Yeah, that too. That's it. Is that why the British drink so much? Because it's just safer.
It's just safer.
There you go. But I love that you're watching from there. A beautiful place to be. I'm jealous, and I hope you're having a wonderful time.
And I hope it's cooler than it is here.
Yes. Jonathan is asking about James Caan, of course, because James Caan just passed away. Asking if you ever met him. Do you remember the last time we saw him? Because I do.
Yeah, well, that was in Austin, Texas.
At South by Southwest.
We're at South by Southwest, and we're sort of killing time between
a friend of mine
screenings or something.
There's so many publicists there with lots of different movies, and a friend of mine said, hey, we're having like snacks and a light bite upstairs in this nice restaurant. Do you want to come by? And free food during a film festival is basically a green light and a place to sit. So we went, because Austin, especially during South by, is chaos. So we went upstairs and sat down, and who was next to us, but Monsieur James Caan, who looked at me and said, huh, you look fun. That's what he said to me. So that's my everlasting James Caan moment. Huh, you look fun.
Had it been like 10 years earlier, definitely 20 or 30 years earlier, he would have said more and said it while pouncing on you.
I could be so lucky. You know, I'll take what I got. But you've met him,
a
handful of times.
A handful of times, and interviewed him, for Entertainment Tonight. Yeah, several occasions. Just saw him 3-4 months ago at a 50th anniversary screening of The Godfather, in the company of Mr. Coppola.
Oh, that's right.
And Talia Shire, and he was there also talking about the film, which was a milestone in his life.
Yeah.
And
I will say the headline of James Caan, star of Godfather and Elf, dead. A little funny.
Yeah.
Godfather and Elf.
Yeah.
Granted, I really enjoy Elf, but funny.
Yeah.
For the whole career. But hey, whatever. Success is success. But
he was a rodeo champion.
Yeah.
He loved doing that.
That is so
as much as he did act.
Yeah. Have you received more screeners and screener links since becoming an Academy member? No, because that's sort of
my daily life, actually.
that's how we roll.
As a member of the Meteor.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, watching stuff via link is not my favorite thing. Sometimes it is what it is, but it's not how you want to be watching things.
Ideally, no.
But as I say, it is what it is at the moment. So you watch what you can watch. When my parents really get on it is December time into January.
Yeah.
Especially because my dad does vote for the LA Film Critics and for a couple of other groups that he's a part of. And that is when you guys are like I mean, 2, 3, 4 movies over the weekend, more than that sometimes, as much as you can, while staying at least semi-coherent.
Yeah, you don't want to watch any of these tired.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. You don't want to be tired
Mm.
when you're about to watch a heavy-duty film,
Yeah.
a film that you know runs more than 2 hours.
Which is all of them now.
Yeah, which is all of them, unfortunately. But you want to be alert and awake and all of that. And sometimes it takes strategy.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? My dad always says you can't complain. There's certain jobs you can't complain about, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to. You've always said this to me. Nobody wants to hear him complain about being a film critic, and you don't.
No.
But
no, and I stopped when I first became a familiar face on Entertainment Tonight, and people would stop me in hotel lobbies or on the sidewalk or at the airport. They said, "You got the best job in the world," and I would foolishly say at first, "Well, yeah, I do, but it's still a job, and you have to." And
they don't want that.
I saw them get glassy-eyed. I said, "Okay." So I just said, "Yeah, I do," because I do.
But the thing is, what you have to remember is that all jobs are jobs. So the best way I explain it to people is when you see a trailer for a movie and you think, I don't want to watch that, you don't want to watch that. If it's your job, you're watching it regardless. If you're tired, if you're stressed, you're having a bad day, any number of things, sometimes you just don't feel like it, but you do. Is it the worst thing in the world? Obviously not. But it's just the thing of as soon as something becomes a job, it just means that there isn't so much the freedom of it. But now that you don't have the guide and you don't
nobody has a gun to my head.
You don't really have a master at the moment, other than my mother. You are able to sort of watch what you want.
I pretty well choose what I want to watch. I knew that I wanted to
But you're also 71. It took 71 years to get to
Yeah.
a place where he doesn't have to watch what he doesn't want to watch.
I knew I wanted to see the new Thor
Yeah.
movie, and I knew I wanted to see it with your husband.
Yes.
My
I didn't
son-in-law.
even get asked, by the way. I would just like to point that out. My husband told me, he goes, "Oh, your dad said we're going to see Thor." I said, "Okay, I'm not invited. Thank you. Thank you so much."
Why? Because Scott is a big comic and superhero guy.
Nerd.
And I wanted his expertise.
Mhm.
Wanted to be able to call on his expertise.
Yes.
And I enjoy his company as well. But
Helps.
I just want to sort of observe his response.
And you both really didn't like it.
He was gentler than I.
Well, he always is.
But
That's.
no, it turned me off.
I don't know. He really didn't like it. I don't know that he was that much gentler.
Okay.
Because
listen, I love humor in my comic book and superhero movies.
Intelligent.
And I include
well written humor.
Yes. And this was just not funny.
Mm.
And it seemed inappropriate somehow. It didn't seem organic. Not organic. You get it.
Yeah. No, it was no, he was disappointed too, of course, because it's
and Taika Waititi is a very funny guy.
Yes.
Very funny guy.
Yeah.
That is organic to him.
Yeah.
And but somehow
another South by Southwest memory. Okay. And this goes to everyone as well. If you are a person in an audience and a Q&A situation occurs, ask a question. Don't make a statement.
Or a speech.
Don't make a speech. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. The people on stage don't want it. People around you don't want it. Don't do that. If you have a question, ask a question. So we were there for the screening, the premiere screening of the What We Do in the Shadows TV show, which my friend Harvey is on. And it was him and Jermaine Clement and the cast. But the two of them together are just Jermaine and Taika. They're hysterical together.
And we were there in that wonderful old Paramount Theater on State Street.
And they were on Congress Street.
Congress Avenue.
So we somebody gets up to ask a question, but is just making a statement. And the two of them did what I think every moderator and every guest has ever wanted to do. And they go, is there a question here? Or are you just going to talk? But they were funny. And oh my God, you could just feel the audience going, yes, yes, call them out for doing the thing everyone hates. Yes, that was perfect is what that was. And we got to talk to him, which we got to talk to both of them. And I love Jermaine Clement. That was very exciting. Larry's asking if you've ever talked to Billy Crystal about his family history with jazz musicians and composers and singers.
No, I haven't. He's talked about it on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
I don't think I could mine any deeper.
Yeah.
His uncle was Milt Gabler, founder of Commodore Records. He was a record shop owner in New York, who then started a small label and began recording musicians that he liked, including Billie Holiday and a lot of other notables in the 30s and 40s. And so Billy grew up knowing these people. A lot of them became family friends. And he does wonderful, evocative impressions of them.
I'm sure.
Little vignettes and such. Yeah.
He was the best part of the Tonys this year, without question. Billy Crystal's performance was so much fun. It was fun. That's what made it, was that it was fun. And it was nice to see him on stage and making everybody laugh, and he gets the audience involved. Yeah, that was very, very cool. The other person, though, we've mentioned this before, but if you are a jazz buff, you have to listen to George Clooney talk about his aunt and all of the things that he experienced with her. He used to drive her to gigs. And
she had an act with three other musical ladies called Four Girls Four. And they were all veterans of the big band era. So the personnel changed sometimes. But Helen O'Connell, who had a lot of hit records, and Martha Ray, known more as a comedian, but a wonderful singer, and Margaret Whiting, Richard White, the composer Richard Whiting's daughter. Anyway, Four Girls Four. He has side-splitting stories about his experiences, which are even funnier because he was a newcomer. He was a kid and new to Hollywood and not blasé about anything. And he was exposed to
everything. It's very...
we won't try to imitate or,
Yeah. Apologies if this is an odd question, but what are your favorite Powell and Pressburger pictures? I'm so late to finding them, but they are giving me so much joy.
Well, that's what they do. I mean, they not only give joy, but they nourish you. Powell and Pressburger. My all-time favorite, although it's hard to pick, but my favorite is Black Narcissus, which I think may be the most beautiful Technicolor movie ever made, photographed by the great Jack Cardiff, who did most of their films. But The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, and I Know Where I'm Going, and The Small Back Room, and The Red Shoes, of course, which has had a following, a fervent following from the day it opened in New York.
Theo agrees with you. Theo Gluck agrees with you.
Oh, thank you, Theo. That's an intelligent. That's a what Harlan used to say? That's an informed opinion. So I appreciate that. Anyway, they're great. And not every film is perfect, and not every film. A Matter of Life and Death. I almost forgot. Another of their films are just so unpredictable, offbeat, winning, charming, intriguing, intellectual, emotional, all of that. They're great. And I'm happy for you that you've just discovered them, because you have so much in store for you.
Victoria says her second favorite is I Know Where I'm Going.
Yeah. I find a lot of women like that one in particular. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Certain things just speak to you, Tales of Hoffman. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a bad.
Well, no, some of them, they had a misfire or two along the way.
Yeah.
but The Small Back Room is not everybody's favorite, but
Life and Death of Colonel Blimp.
I love it. I love it. And Roger Livesey, the leading man in The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, has one of the most beautiful speaking voices ever recorded on film, along with your mom's favorite, Ronald Colman.
Well.
And a few others I might name. Roger Livesey just has the most beautiful, slightly raspy British voice. Oh,
I love. You know what's funny for me is that I heard Ronald Colman before I saw him.
Sure.
Because of Jack Benny. So I also thought of him as comedy, like because of that. You know how however you're introduced to something is sort of how you, I don't know, to a degree, it's how you see it kind of in general. And because I love the Jack Benny Show so much, hearing Ronald Colman on that made me think as a little kid that he was a comedian too.
If you don't know, the Jack Benny Show, which is the greatest of all radio comedy series.
Nothing better.
No, nothing better.
Nothing better.
In any medium. Had a running joke that they lived next door to Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Colman. She, the actress Benita Hume. And so they wrote these very clever and often hilarious scripts.
Going next door for a cup of sugar type, ridiculous.
Yeah. Or borrowing Ronnie's Oscar.
Yes.
After he won the Oscar for A Double Life. Great stuff.
And the line that we all know is Benita calling out to Ronald and him answering, I'm in the library, Benita.
I'm in the library, Benita.
And so that's, anyway, it's still perfect. Ken says, just found my copies of your movie comedy teams book and the Laurel and Hardy book. I can't wait to reread them. Any revisions or reissues planned for them? Were they part of what went onto Amazon?
No.
Okay.
No, they weren't.
Because some of his books are available as ebooks on Amazon now.
Yes, that's true. Selected Short Subjects is one, and The Real Stars.
They've been up for a few years.
And the one that I midwifed, Don Miller's B-Movies book. Those are all available. But I lost the question. What was the question? Oh,
any revisions?
I never got to revise the Laurel and Hardy book. I did revise movie comedy teams once in the early 80s. And if you haven't seen that does have some updates in it. But
what do we have now? Kevin Hart and The Rock?
Well, there's no more vaudeville. There's no more.
I know. Yeah.
Teaming now is more contrivance.
Yeah.
Than
when I was younger, it was a bunch of SNL folks were sort of the closest.
Well, yeah, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi,
Dana Carvey and Mike Myers.
Right.
Even frankly, David Spade and for crying out loud, Chris Farley. They were teamed.
Yeah. But did that make them a team?
I think people thought of them together
co-stars?
Because I think people thought of them together because of what they did. But
I think I updated the book with Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
I think that's the last gasp.
Yeah, that's sort of where that is. Sean says, thoughts on the film Stand By Me? If you don't cry, you probably don't have a soul.
One of those films that sort of a can't miss movie. If an audience doesn't respond, there's something wrong with the audience.
And the soundtrack is
sure.
fantastic.
Sure.
Fantastic soundtrack. So good. Ronnie, a few other people have said too, Ronnie's saying it was truly a TCM fan dream watching those great RKO hidden gems with you last week.
Oh, thank you. You've done my heart.
Robert Osborne is smiling down on you.
Well, that just made my day. Thank you very, very much. It was such a privilege to get to do that. I mean, here we are in the year of our Lord, 2022. And I'm talking about a movie called Ladies of the Jury, made 90 years ago, and it's going to go out on, national television, and starring Edna Mae Oliver. Come back, Twitter.
Twitter died. It's okay. We'll find Twitter again.
And I just had the best time doing that, and making the selections and then doing it.
Yeah.
and
It's
I'm a little self-conscious.
I'm really glad though that you were able to. TCM is generally open to my dad pitching stuff to them, because most of the time when you do see my dad on the channel hosting something like that, he's come up with it. And then he comes to our friends at TCM and he says, hey, I'd like to do an evening of blank. And not always, but
no,
but
they
much
don't.
of the
They
time,
don't love everything
you know,
I propose.
but much of the time they'll say, okay.
But they
And
like
then they
they
make it
like
work.
this. They like this pitch. This was a successful pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm happy that it could happen, because that's, you know, I know everybody. I think it's nice when there's a personal touch.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's something that you want to share and that you're passionate about. It's never a bad time for that.
And we banked another evening.
Yeah, that's going to come later in the year.
Later in the year.
Yeah.
I was very self-conscious.
Yeah.
About the that evening's worth of intros and outros, because I've made no secret of the fact that
Twitter says, we're sorry, there was an error starting your broadcast. Please try again.
All right.
Okay, Twitter, go on.
It's no secret that I have Parkinson's disease, and I made no secret of that.
Yeah.
And but I'm very, very conscious of trying to hide. I'm being candid here. Hide any evidence of it.
Yeah.
And I don't
Not
think
hide. Hide isn't the right word.
No.
It's that to him, it's distracting. He's worried that people are going to watch and be distracted by the movements.
Mm-hmm. And but people have been wonderful. The response has been just great.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better.
Yeah. Well, I told you. This is something. My dad had Parkinson's for several years and didn't tell people because he was concerned about that being a thing that people couldn't get past. But what's interesting is that because I've been sick forever, and I have I learned a long time ago with being sick that the easiest thing in the world to do is tell everyone, because then you never have to lie.
Yeah.
You don't have to make excuses. You don't ever have to say, oh, I was doing my hair. You just say, I had a flare. I had a flare up. It's the truth. I had a tremor, whatever it is. I wasn't okay. And Victoria says, your shoulder looked great. Didn't it just? It's healed beautifully. We're coming up on a year.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers since you had surgery. But, and I said to my dad, so when it came up that, are you going to tell people? Because we've talked about this. Basically, what's his name was going to make the announcement.
Oh, Alan Alda.
Alan Alda made the announcement. And then someone else called my dad.
Yeah. Someone from AARP, from their website, called me to get my reaction to Alan Alda going public with the fact that he was now suffering from Parkinson's.
I think the screen is blurry. Go on.
And I gave him an answer. And then I sort of looked at you and your mother and said, and I'm in the same boat.
Yep.
And so
I said, just tell him. I said, it's going to make life so much easier when you just tell everybody.
Yep.
And it has.
Yeah, it has.
Because as I say, once people know that you have it, then they're not wondering if you're okay. They know you're fine. And it's,
Yeah. And
the truth is, it's not that it's not a big deal, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't mean your life stops.
No.
Yeah. A few people are saying that, I love that you guys talk about it. It helps others who also suffer. Absolutely.
All that matters to me is that I'm still able to function.
Mm-hmm.
I can still type. I can still write.
Yeah.
I can still talk.
He was an absent-minded professor before. This is nothing. But no, it's, the stuff that you notice. And, you've been using a cane more and more now.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you not fall down, which is preferable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love that people send me messages asking about different autoimmune diseases, asking about invisible illnesses, all that kind of stuff. It's all, it's better to talk about it. Evanir says you can still eat pasta. Thanks, Evanir. Thanks so much. They had a lovely dinner with you the other night. Seem lively today. Yeah, no, he is. That's what I mean, is that it's easier to tell people and help them understand that it doesn't mean you're dead and you're locked away forever now. Ronnie says, those of us with neurodegenerative conditions love that you went public and you're out there. Yes.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad.
I think it's really, really important, as I say, especially because this is what it is. Jesse's honesty about lupus helped my sister. She felt so alone. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's very touching.
Your sister your sister can always write to me. I talk to folks all the time.
Yeah, she does.
On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Jessie is fearless.
Well,
no, you really are. You're fearless about that, and your candor, I'm sure, has helped a lot of other people because they see you functioning.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know the truth. No, truthfully, the one of the things in having a baby is that I'm not able to really take care of myself in the way that I used to, namely in terms of rest, doing nothing if I have to. But I'm very, very lucky because my parents are, I think the term that I keep using, because it made me laugh when someone else said it, is active grandparents. They're very active grandparents. Yes. My parents help me all the time with my daughter. And it's amazing for me because I love seeing her with them. And she especially is obsessed with my dad. Loves my mom, of course, but you guys have a special something.
Special smiles just for Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him. I love him.
But I'm so glad that so many people said the same thing to you, which is that they didn't notice it. They didn't notice, because it's not a big deal.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Good. Life absolutely doesn't end with Parkinson's or MS. Everyone needs to know that. There will be so much less fear in the folks who face those diagnoses. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the hope. Nobody should be afraid and nobody should feel alone. That's the moral of that story. Has Leonard Maltin heard that Betty Ferris passed away? She was in Gents Without Sense in 1944 with the Three Stooges.
Well, I know it now.
Yeah. Ta-da!
I don't know that I knew it before,
yeah.
but I know it now.
Who was it? Margaret Keaton, who passed away? The artist who just passed away. There's too many people in the last week. I can't keep up with all of them. Leonard could grow a tail and we would still love him in every single way. Thank you, Christy. That's the way. That's the way. Just go for that. I'm going to pull up some more questions.
All right, sure.
Today's gift was Carmen Miranda, but of course. So Jean says, please tell me the two of you will be wearing those fruit salad hats today. If only.
Yeah, if only.
Would that I had one. Jerry says, do you have a recommendation of a great book about Disney, one not written by you?
Well, there are a number of them. Neil Gabler biography is the best biography I've read. I have my quibbles with it, but I think it's pretty darn good. It's a great book though. It's a corollary to this. Bob Thomas wrote a great biography of Roy Disney, Walt's brother, and that is a really interesting book. More interesting than you might think, because Roy never pretended to be a creative, contributor, but in his own way, he was.
Yeah.
And he was Walt's enabler.
Yeah.
His older brother.
Nick says, not Neil Gabler's book. Why not? And now I have questions. Why not? Go on.
Yes, there's some people who have gripes about Neil's book, and some of them I understand. But it's the first one that came to mind. Jim Korkis has written a number of the Vault of Walt.
Yeah,
and he made several volumes of that, full of interesting tidbits. And there's There's a lot of books surrounding.
Theo says the 2 massive volumes from Taschen are amazing. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Taschen books are spectacular.
The Walt Disney Archives series.
Well, there's that one that's good.
Yeah,
On there.
I got to contribute to the second one on the feature films. I wrote the Song of the South chapter and the So Dear to My Heart chapter.
Scott had to schlep them. They did a big signing at Taschen in Beverly Hills. The thing about Taschen books is they're huge and they're very heavy. And my dad had a copy and my husband was schlepping it around this bookstore. God bless him. That was very amusing. Ryan's asking how many Disney books do you think you have? Too many, Ryan. Too many.
So very
many. Oh Lord. Just so many. Do you have a favorite film with character actor Will Rogers?
Oh, well, to pick one, let's see.
You can pick more than one. I'll cheat for you.
Okay, all right. He's in a film based on a play called The Torchbearers by George Kelly, Grace Kelly's uncle, called Doubting Thomas, that I think is a very funny film. Very funny. And I love Judge Priest and Dr. Bull, 2 of the 3 films he made with John Ford. Though Stephen Fetchit's presence in those films makes them, uncomfortable for some people to watch, and I understand.
Yeah, I can't watch him. Yeah, it's too much for me. Christopher's asking if we're excited about the Industrial Light and Magic documentary the series coming out on Disney Plus.
Yes.
We were just talking about that yesterday, actually. Yeah, of course. Fingers crossed that it's good.
I don't see how it can't be.
Yeah, pretty much.
That open access to everything.
Yeah. Well, that's the Leslie Iwerks series that's on Disney Plus. Is so good. So good. Jim says, really enjoyed your TCM Thursday night programming. I also saw you on a recent Jimmy Stewart / Robert Mitchum doc. Any Mitchum essentials you'd recommend aside from Out of the Past, Night of the Hunter, or the original Cape Fear?
Well, those are the 3 that I would name. Ordinarily, I would rattle off those titles. There are several Mitchum titles that are famous and that I haven't seen, and I'm not going to admit it now. So I have to beg your pardon, beg your indulgence there.
I forgive you just this once. Matt says, just enjoyed the Dirty Dozen. Do you have a favorite of the dozen actors? Did you ever get to meet Lee Marvin?
No, I never got to meet Lee Marvin, and I'm sorry about that. There's a very good biography of him. I love the story that I heard about him years ago, that he would come to a meeting and he sort of burst into the room, look around and say, all right, who do I have to impress?
I like that.
That's
fair. And also, by the way, just moves things along much faster because it's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Who is important in this room?
Right. Or who thinks they're important?
Yeah, that too. Kyle's asking if we're fans of Stranger Things, the show. So I watched the first 2 seasons and then tried the third and really didn't get into it. Did you ever watch the first season? No,
I didn't get
Again, my parents, my dad doesn't tend to watch. My mom and I watch a lot of TV. My dad doesn't tend to watch much unless we tell him to, if there's something that we think is really good and that he should see. But that aside.
Last night or the night before last, we started watching 10%.
Right.
Which is the British remake of the hit French series Call My Agent. And if you haven't seen the French series Call My Agent,
it's great.
It's great. 4 seasons with a conclusion, and a good conclusion. The creator, steered them in the right direction, and very well cast and very funny. And this British rewrite is also very good. It uses most of the key story beats from the French version. Only the actors who happen to appear, of course, are British actors, like Helena Bonham Carter and Dominic West and Olivia Williams. and so we're like 5 episodes in, and very much enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Ryan's asking if you've ever met Rolly Crump. I bought a poster at the Walt Disney Family Museum a few weeks ago that has his autograph on it. I think
Yeah, I met Rolly a while ago at one of the
events. Yeah,
one of the Disneyana conventions.
Yeah, one of the 7,000 Disneyana conventions. Yes. Have you ever met Kevin Smith? Yes.
Yeah, first time I met him was on an airplane.
Yeah.
We were both coming to LA from Newark Airport, and he's a Jersey boy. So we stood and chatted for quite a while.
He's another New Jersey boy. Jerseyites always bond. It's a thing. And then we've seen him a handful of times at different events. We see him at Comic-Con. We'll see him at Comic-Con this year. One of my best friends is sort of his right hand. Both he and his wife, they tour with him. All the Jay and Silent Bob stuff they're there for. They will be touring again for the next Clerks when they get home. Basically, Liv will get back and then get on the road with Kevin. And yeah, it's going to be madness.
Off they go.
So Kevin is around us, but yeah, it's a small world kind of a thing. Lynn's asking where you watch 10%. Do you remember which streaming service it's on?
It's on Acorn.
Sure.
Which we get through Prime, through Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah. It's Acorn is, if you're a person who loves British series, Acorn is the way to go. They have so much stuff. My mom often just even orders their DVDs if she wants them. But yeah, like with everything, you have to like jump over 17 different. It's very annoying. I think there's just too many streaming services. Good evening to you, Caleb. Hello. Samuel says, Jersey rules. Yes, we appreciate New Jersey because it is where you grew up, and it was very nice where you grew up.
Yep. Yes, it was.
The area my dad grew up in looks exactly like you think like American suburb should look like. It's everything's just pretty and nice, you know?
I could walk to school. I could walk to the library.
Yeah.
I rode my bike to junior high school.
Yeah. Teaneck, New Jersey looks, and you know what? Still looks pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
I Googled the other day, I did the Google map where you can see photos because I wanted to see if his old house was still there. Yep. And it looks exactly the same. So at least some things don't change.
For show and tell, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes, by all means.
Some show and tell. And I know that objects are better than pieces of paper for this purpose. So take the one object I brought.
Okay.
Right at your side.
This?
Yeah.
Okay. Ha! I just saw them. Hang on. All right. It's Edward G. Robinson's Pipe Blend. Mildly aromatic. A blend of rich, mellow, imported and domestic tobaccos signed by Edward G. Robinson. Then there's the photo. That is so funny. Is it empty or is it full? Do you know?
What's that?
Oh, it's got stuff in there.
It's got stuff in there. Some of it may be crawling.
I was going to say, yeah, that might be alive. Here's one side. Okay. And then this is the other side.
What's funny is that he was so famous for cigars.
Yeah.
But here it would have us believe, and no reason not to, that he was a pipe aficionado.
I almost want to open it. Like, I don't, because I'm pretty sure that it's full of asbestos, but I'm intrigued because it's full. Okay. These look like fun.
You never know what will be interesting and what will be dull. If I said to you, I can show you contracts.
Someone just asked, how old is the pipe tobacco? Don't think it says.
No year on it.
I'm going to go ahead and say old. Like that's my technical guess is old. Real old. It was made in Richmond, Virginia. That's exciting. And something's crossed out. What's crossed out? From the Sutliff Tobacco Company. Now I have questions.
If I said to you, I have contracts that the theater owners used to have to fill out to book movies, including the shorts and cartoons, that doesn't sound terribly interesting. except they went to the trouble of making them attractive.
That's so good.
This is what a theater owner would sign to book a season of Walt Disney shorts. Now, these are reissues of the original cartoons.
So Walt Disney Productions in Technicolor, Branch, Memphis, Tennessee, Theater, The Pines Drive-In, Town or City, Pine Bluff State, Arkansas, all that stuff. Sale possibility, block,
It's going to
number
cost
bought
$5
per issue.
Yep.
License fee is $5 per issue. Total amount $30. Wow.
And this was in the
That's
days
wild.
when there were regional film exchanges. So in the days before, air shipping became feasible, FedEx type of air shipment, everything was done by truck. So they had an office that serviced the Midwest, South, upper Midwest, Southwest. And here's a Universal contract for Woody Woodpecker cartoons.
These are $2 per subject for a total of $12. Michael's saying, do you think Disney will expand the release of Hocus Pocus 2 beyond Disney Plus? I think that they'll probably show it at the El Capitan. And then if people really like it, then it may be the kind of thing that they put into theaters for Halloween, like as a specialty. But I think they don't really know for sure how people are going to react to it and how it'll do.
There's the newsreel from Universal. They were the last newsreel to hang on. They went until 1967.
So where did you get these?
I buy stuff.
I buy stuff. Yes, you do.
And here's a feature. Here's one of Abbott Costello's independent features, not made for Universal. And it's a second run.
Community theater. Huh.
Again, Pine Bluff.
More expensive. The fixed rental is $17.50. The noose hangs high.
So this was, because it was second run, it didn't matter if it played well or played poorly.
Yeah.
$17.50 was going to be the price.
Yeah.
I have more of these that I couldn't put my hand on today.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good intro.
Those are awesome. They're great.
I love them. Just quickly, my copy of this just showed up. I read an advanced copy of this very important book called The Disney Revolt, The Great Labor War of Animation's Golden Age by Jake S. Friedman, published by Chicago Review Press. And I'm one of many animation folk.
Someone says, Leonard Maltin, film critic, film professor, and collector of antiquities. Who needs Indiana Jones? Yes. If you don't know about this, if you don't know about what happened and the strike, it's fascinating. And as always, there's two sides, and you can't really fault completely either one, And
what Jake Friedman decided to do in researching and writing this book, he decided he would take only firsthand accounts and primary materials from that time, from the late 30s into 1941 and beyond. The strike actually took place in 1941. So there's nobody looking back, remembering.
Yeah.
It's all contemporary to the time it happened.
Nick is saying he would read it even if Walt is depicted as a villain. I don't think
he's no villain here.
No,
not a villain. The big, it's not David versus Goliath. It's not that.
Yeah.
The blood feud was between Walt and the man who he thought was perhaps his most gifted animator, Art Babbitt.
Yeah.
Real name Arthur Babitsky. And I was once chewed out on the phone by Art Babbitt, and my ear is still.
You should have said, "Listen, Babitsky."
Yeah.
Ryan's asking if we know when it comes out.
Now,
There you go.
July 5th is the official pub dates. That was this past week.
Is that going to be in the book roundup?
Yep.
Okay. My dad has either 1 or 2 book roundup pieces coming out soon. Again, if you don't know, with my dad's website, you can sign up to the email list, and we email you every time he posts something.
Free of charge.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, we post all kinds of stuff, and usually also try to get the information about our podcasts out there, all that good stuff.
And this also arrived this week, and I'm also endorsing this on the back cover, called Making the Cut at Pixar. And it's written by Bill Kinder and Bobby Osteen. Bobby Osteen was married to the great film editor Sam Osteen, and is a very talented editor in her own right. And this book is very specifically about how Pixar has incorporated editing into the DNA of their movies. It's not the last step.
No, it's active.
It's
it's as they go.
The editor is involved from day one. It's a matter of planning and preparing properly.
Yeah.
And taking everything into account as you're building scenes and building sequences. Very, I don't know if it's unique, but it's
unique.
Different.
It's unique in the sense, I mean, there are some directors who always work with the same editors, and so they are privy to more.
Yeah.
But I think that this is special in how they choose to do things.
Yeah.
Is Leonard a Club 33 member? Do you know how expensive Club 33 membership is? Because woof.
we debated whether to throw a bat mitzvah for her when she turned 13 or join Club 33.
Yeah.
And I'm just kidding.
No, we're very lucky because we get to go because we have friends who are members. And I was very, very, very lucky because as a kid, we used to go a lot. I went for birthdays, things like that. And the truth is, social media has so changed Disneyland really drastically. And I've talked to you about this.
Yeah.
People didn't know about all of this stuff, or very few people knew about all of this stuff. They didn't know about Club 33. They didn't know about Walt's apartment. The Dream Suite didn't exist back then. They hadn't built it.
Club 33 was.
If you're not familiar with what we're talking about, there's a place called Club 33 at Disneyland, and it was originally for the 33 vendors at Disneyland. 32
vendors who were original participants in Disneyland and helped fund the completion of the park. And Walt felt he needed to have a place where he could wine and dine those folks of significance. And that's what it started out as.
Yeah. And
it's a fancy restaurant.
Yeah. It's lovely. And they just redid it a few years ago. It looks completely different to how it used to look. Les, when did you eat at Club 33? Because now they have tried to make the food better. The food used to be really mediocre, which is part of what was so funny about it being so obscenely expensive. But they have redone it now, and now they have 2 different parts of it. They have a new entrance. They don't use the original entrance anymore, which is kind of a shame because the old one was really cool and hidden, and this one is not. But yeah, it's got a lot of history. And then there are people now, because they have that Carthay restaurant at California Adventure. You can also go in and what's that one called? That's also a number or something. They have they created sort of a Club 33 at the Carthay Circle restaurant as well. It's for now for people, it is all about taking photos and being there and telling people that you were there. What I enjoyed about it growing up was that people didn't know it was there, or it's called 1901. 1901 is the one at the Carthay Circle. But yeah, I liked that it was this quiet little place that people were not aware of, and they'd watch you disappear. because it was a hidden door. They'd watch you disappear, and people would wonder what the hell was going on, and you'd say, "Yeah, we're hiding. It's kind of cool." So yeah. Lynn says, "I don't know how anyone can even afford Disneyland today." Yeah, absolutely. My family lived 2 miles from there when I was between the ages of 2 and 6, and we went regularly. But today it's too expensive. Yeah, it's bonkers how expensive it is. We have a handful of friends, I say, who work there, and so periodically I'll ask a favor to get tickets. And I think if I've learned anything from my parents is that you hold your favors close and you really try not to ask people for things unless you really need them. And that way people don't feel used, which is preferable. So yeah, that's how I do it. So when I do get to take Daisy one day, which I can't wait that way, because otherwise, man, oh man, it's expensive. Steve's asking, I got in late. Will the Maltins be at Comic-Con later this month? Yes. We'll tell you more about it next week. But yeah, we will be at Comic-Con. Our panel is Friday, the 21st.
At 4 p.m.
4 o'clock, the You're Wrong Leonard Maltin panel, where people get to come and basically, we don't say argue, but let's say discuss their opinions sort of against my dad, and we make sure that it's really fun and light. And
this is not a name calling.
No. Rotten Tomatoes does a panel, or they have done a panel called Your Opinion Sucks. This is not that. This is meant to be just really fun and silly, and people tend to get that as soon as they're there, and it's just a good time. So so if you are going to be at Comic-Con, we'll be there.
Or you may see us wandering on the exhibition floor.
We'll be there too. Daisy will be there. We'll all be there. Yeah.
And I'm going to get to speak.
Yes.
At this is off campus slightly, but I'm going to speak at William Shatner's handprint in cement ceremony.
There's a little theater that they do that.
Yeah. Not far from the convention center.
Yeah. Are you guys apprehensive about COVID at Comic-Con? So they're requiring either that you are vaccinated or that you show a test.
And masks.
And you have to wear masks. To a degree, honestly, at this point, we're vaccinated, we're boosted, we're doing everything that we can do to be safe. But, you need to kind of, at a certain point, get back into things.
Yeah.
And
one thing I've been doing the last few public appearances, I do virtual handshakes.
Yeah, we know. Try not to touch everyone.
Yeah. It's a simple thing, but I hope it helps.
You do what you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do everything. We do everything that we can do. I still wear a mask even though I'm vaxxed. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Right now, what you have to do is what's right for you and what feels good. So yeah, that's it for us. And thankfully, there's a lot of stuff outside. So it's not just being in the convention center. It's fun to be outside. It's fun to walk around by the water and all that. Really, we just go because we like to meet people. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to meet folks. People love talking to my dad, and that's really the joy of it. And the fact that it's just in San Diego makes life easier because it's not that far for us. So we go down, we have a chaotic weekend in San Diego. But yeah, so if you're going to be there, let us know. We'd love to see you. They say this will be Daisy's first Comic-Con. That can only end well. Who doesn't bring an almost 9-month-old to Comic-Con? But yes, Ronnie, one day. Yeah, it's honestly, the thing about Comic-Con is, I will tell you that the LA Comic-Con that they do and WonderCon, which happens in Anaheim, are like the gentler, nicer version of Comic-Con in San Diego. They have a lot of many similar things, but it's so much less chaotic, busy, wall-to-wall human. It's too many humans sometimes. But yeah, try those, honestly. They're I prefer them, honestly. But SDCC is a blast too. So, and I'm excited for us to do a panel.
Yeah.
And to see folks.
Looking forward to all of that.
Am I going to dress Daisy in cosplay? She's a little baby. She throws up and spits, does all that kind of stuff. I I'm lucky if I can keep her in one outfit for more than a few hours.
I'm
So,
gonna make public what I've been saying here in the house for the last month or so.
yes.
If someone scientifically minded out there can find a practical use for spittle, we're gonna get rich.
My daughter's teething, and if you need saliva, this kid,
Saliva are us.
everything is wet. Every single thing is wet that exists in our home. It is wet. It is covered in baby. But thankfully, she's adorable and we love her, and we accept that we are going to be wet for a while until the teething ends. Anyway, folks, thank you as always for joining us. And dress Daisy as Linda Blair in The Exorcist. It's an option. It's a debt. I mean, she might never forgive me, but it's an option. No, I got her like a little Grogu overall set. Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll see you guys next Sunday, and everybody be safe and take good care of yourselves.
And remember to be kind.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.